I'm going to give a high level overview of how I strategize a house flip. So you go to buy a house flip, and there's different ways that you can set up your scope of work, and there's different steps that you go through each time. And I'm going to show the big picture of that. Later, I'm going to do a more in-depth, longer course on exactly how I do this stuff. But this is really what separates those that succeed from those that don't, is having the right play on a house flip. And it's not as simple as it might look. And there's lots of pitfalls to run into. And that's what I'm going to touch on today. So you really have a few different levels. You have, and I'm looking at my notes here because I'm writing this course, assessing the property. Okay, this is usually pre-buy. And then you are going to move into like actually writing your smart scope of work, the strategy against the scope of work itself. So assessing the property, this is, understanding the pitfalls and such of the property beforehand. Then the smart scope of work. And then we have the actual, the La Rosa system, which is, named after my construction company. But these are like the very detailed way that I would write a scope of work that I could then hand off to subcontractors. So this takes a lot of work. Therefore, I wouldn't get to that step until I was pretty dang sure I was going to buy the property. And this is actually how I project manage throughout. And then there's like money and budgets, the philosophies around money and budgets and how we set those things up and then manage them throughout the project. Okay, so and if you know my systems here, we have basically, there's 4 controls of any house flip. You have number 1 is the deal. Number 2 is the strategy that you set up. That's what we're talking about today. And number 3, we have the work. This is actually managing the work that's happening on the project. And then we have number 4 is the market. And the 2 big controls are right here, number 1 and number 2, getting a great deal on the front end. Number 2 is the strategy. Okay, so let's just go through. We have 1 is assess the property. Okay, now there's a few different steps, phases, let's say, in assessing a property, because you're going to see a lot of deals, and you should see a lot of deals. It's not like you decide that you're going to go buy your next real estate investment, and then all of a sudden, it's sitting in front of you. You're generally going to go through 10, 20, maybe even more rejections before you find one that's actually a good deal. Okay, so you need to quickly be able to know what the construction budget is going to be. But it's not like you can just take a bunch of contractors there and say, hey, give me 3 bids. I want to see what the best is for this thing, this thing, and this thing. I mean, just imagine how much time that would take, how much relationship capital you would burn with contractors, and it would just never work out. So you, as a real estate investor, need to be able to write a quick budget and a quick scope of work. You need to understand what needs to happen on that property. And truly, once you get good at this, you can do it like by looking at pictures on Zillow. So a lot of times, you guys probably know, I buy houses direct from sellers. However, I used to buy a lot of houses from wholesalers. I still get sent deals from wholesalers. Also, there are deals on the actual market that you can look through, but you got to be able to look through these pictures quickly and know like, oh, dude, that's like not a deal. Okay. So the assessment goes through the 3 phases. 1 is the deal analysis. Now, what I use, which this is free for all of you guys, is a tool that I call Flipperism. I know, naming convention here, but Flipperism, like algorithm. Okay, but it's really simple. There's different levels of house flip. There's cosmetic, a renovation, a gut flip. That's where you're going to take off the drywall, and that's going to open up some more cans of worms. And then there's the landlord flip. And the landlord flip is like In a cosmetic, you're taking it more to like the range of comps, what a house is going to sell for on the market. Whereas a landlord flip, you might just be getting it to livable, getting it over safety and liability and those kind of things. And so I need to, for one, quickly understand what type of strategy I'm going to be using on that property. And generally, that's going to be like where it comes from. If you're going to buy a house flip, you're almost always going to be wanting to put it into the range of comps, right? So you have, here's the scale of livability, as we call it. These over here are like bombed out houses. This right here is land. This would be no house at all. And then you have over here is your range of comps. This is like what a real estate agent would say that house would sell for if it's nice. That's what the other houses in the neighborhood have sold for that are nice. And then here you have, this is what we call the line of livability, or the livability threshold. Okay, a house after this would be able to be lived in, and a bank would give you money on it. So I call this barely bankable. And then over here we have the bombed out houses. Okay, so basically, like, your strategies are that you either buy a house that's not livable right now and you renovate it. Okay, you bring it over here to the range of comps, or you buy a house that needs gutted, and you bring it to the range of comps. That's a full gut. You have the landlord flip, which is just bringing it across this scale of livability, or this threshold of livability. You're not trying to make it super nice. You're not selling it. You get the point. And then a cosmetic is taking it from barely bankable, your grandma's house, to outdated and smoke filled, and you're taking it to the range of comps. All right, those are really the strategies that we're talking about. Okay, and so when you see on here, there's cosmetic flip, renovation, gut flip, and landlord flip. Those are the main ones that I'm talking about. Okay, and I'll just I'll put them in there, and you can see here at the property setup, I say how many square feet. Whatever, it's 1250 square feet. That's 150, 1250. By the way, guys, this is like if you're in the community, which I imagine you are, in the classroom section, downloads, you'll find links to this stuff. You can even see the link up here. So there you go. And then full baths and half baths. And you'll see, like, as we get into this, why that is all that matters. Bedrooms don't matter. It's not going to make a big difference. Once again, this is quick, guys. This is quick. We don't want to be messing around. The quick six, funny enough, is expanded past six, but these are the first things to look at. These things this is really what makes the difference on what type of flip it might be, other than your exit strategy. Obviously, if you're, I own a lot of rental properties. And, I'm not going to go into one of those and say, hey, I want to make this like one of the nicer ones on the street. I'm going to say, what does it take to get a renter in here? And every question that I ask is, oh, okay, will doing that get me more rent? Yes or no? No, not doing it, unless it's a safety and liability thing, which we'll get to. Okay, so the quick six. Here we go. Quick six: HVAC, electrical, plumbing, structural, roofing, siding, and windows. Those are the quick six. Okay. And if I have a cosmetic, I basically don't have any of those. I just put a little budget on each one of those, just for safekeeping, because stuff comes up, even if I don't think I have anything there, I'm still going to throw a budget. And then if it's a renovation, you see, now I have repairs on all these things. So the budgets go up a little bit. Once again, even if I don't have any HVAC, I put a little bit of budget there. And let's say I do have electrical. Well, now if electrical ends up going over a little bit, I have some makeup room for it. And, guys, yes, later on, I get a little bit more specific with my scope of work and my budget. But the truth is, big belief here, a core belief of my mentality, my philosophy, is that budgets are only what you manage to. When I started out not when I started out, sorry, when I had started my first employee out in my construction company back in the day. We like go on a bid and we come back to my office. I'm trying to teach this guy to do bids because bids suck. That's why contractors never want to give them to you. But we go back to the office to like write this scope of work, and he's like, okay, so how much is this one? Like, where's the spreadsheet? And I'm like, oh, dude, no spreadsheet. It's, let's call that one 2,260. That number sounds good, right? Because just every line item is a sale. Like, oh, that guy knew that painting was $2 a foot. So I'm going to make painting $1.90 a foot. Then he's going to think that it's cheaper. But then this other thing, the gutters, whatever, that he didn't know what the price was, let's boost that a little bit because he doesn't even know. This is what all contractors do, guys. So, and that's why they say get 3 bids, because one contractor will come in at $2,260. Next guy will come in at $800. And I'm not kidding you. They are so vastly different. Some contractors have like efficiencies in certain things that others don't. Some, have a lot of experience in this thing. They're really comfortable with it. They have the price efficiencies. It is all over the place. Okay, so as I go further and further in the business, I get looser and looser with the budgets that I set. And like, I don't go much past the flipper rhythm anymore. I'm going to tell you all the things in the course that I'm writing, because free course, by the way, because, I think you need to see the big picture. But truly, like, I would do this and I would call it good, because I know it's just management that's going to make it happen. It's managing the budget. Okay. Anyhow, renovation flip, gut flip. Okay. I have like, this stuff is pre-programmed, but you can see you can change the sliders. You can change repair, replace as is. Also, when you go to a gut flip, that means you're taking the drywall off. When you take the drywall off, generally you're going to have to do new insulation, and you're going to have to pay for demo, obviously. So auto ads, it's like flooring, paint, hardware, fixtures. You can read it yourself. These happen basically on all projects. Replacements. Okay, if I'm doing a renovation, I'm likely replacing all these things. Obviously, I am if I'm doing a gut flip, because I have to tear it all out. If I'm doing a cosmetic, however, you can see that there's less of these, because, the whole point is trying to do less, okay? The least that I can do to meet the minimum standards of that neighborhood is what I want to do. So you can see that not all of these are repairs or replacements. A lot are repairs. And then there's extras. Okay, but this is how I make a really quick scope. You can also see, just real quick while we're in here, the scope then is going over to the deal here. And this is how I would figure out my acquisition price. Actually, when I'm on an appointment to buy a house, I'm showing people these tools. And right, so that's step 1, is making the quick scope of work. I use the flipper rhythm because I'm trying to quickly analyze a deal. It should take me less than 60 seconds, honestly. I walk through the property, move around some sliders, boom, bang. I got a meeting in 10 minutes, so I'm going to give it 5 more minutes here. And so we're going to get a little bit quicker. And then I just want to say now I move to underwriting more. And I look at what I call the 4 B's. So there's bodily harm, which equates to safety and liability. There's bleeding, baseline, and big 3. Okay, so just going to go back to this real quick. We have I'm just going to redraw it because it got all ugly, right? Bodily harm, safety and liability. Okay, that is numero uno. Okay, you just can't put a product out there that has safety and liability issues. What's up, Michael? Hey man, I'm gonna read that in just a second. Whether you have you're a landlord. Okay, the difference between a landlord who is doing a minimal renovation to get renters in there. And a slumlord is the slumlord does not do the bodily harm stuff. They do not do the safety and liability. They're right here, and they don't push it past the line of livability because it's safety and liability and the utilities working that makes it a livable house. They don't push it past there. They try to sneak it by, and that is a slumlord. A landlord flip is getting it over that line. Okay, so bodily harm, bleeding, that means that water usually is getting in the house and it's messing stuff up. Baseline means that here on this range of comps, okay, I could either be right here at the bottom, the baseline, okay, that means that if some of the houses in the neighborhood, as I'm doing construction comps, have LVP and other ones have hardwoods, easy choice. I'm doing the LVP because I do the baseline. Okay. And, there are some houses in that neighborhood that have super nice tile in the bathrooms and they have the accent tiles and the blah, 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 blah. But these got away with having the shower inserts. Looks like I'm shower inserting. Okay. Because, trying to push past this, trying to push things to the top, what the neighborhood has never seen. I'm going to do all of them and spend all my money. That is called speculating. Okay. There's no proof that those things worked out. There's nobody in the neighborhood did all of them. So, wasted money. That's what I hear. Okay. And anyway, so I do the baseline and then the final thing is the big three. Okay. There are a few things. So I just think about, somebody's walking up to a house. I don't know why I'm drawing this, guys, but I'm drawing it because I have a couple minutes left. I'm walking up to the house. What are the first three things that I see? Probably number one is like landscaping and cutesy the front. Maybe I see some posts right here. Maybe I see some like shutters. Okay. And then I walk into the door and I see a couple more things. What are the first couple things that I see? I got to know how people are walking up to the house. And then I create the filter through which they see the rest of the house. So this is how I start thinking about writing up a scope of work. And then, once I actually get the property, then I hone in the scope of work to be able to hand off to contractors. I'm going to answer these questions for you guys, and then I have that meeting in 7 minutes. How do you differentiate a low bid from a contractor because he has efficiencies versus because he's trying to upsell later? The contractor hostage. Hell yeah, dude. I don't know if you're saying that because I say that, because I do say that. How do I differentiate the low bid because he's got... Well, I just always think back to this. Let's always go back to reality. And the reality is that the contractor is either doing the work themselves, okay, if you have a one-man show guy. And if you got a one-man show guy and he actually does know how to do everything, well, just think about it as an hourly rate. So a guy who knows how to do all that stuff, probably worth like $30 an hour. So $30 an hour, let's just give the benefit of the doubt. Let's say $300 a day of labor is what that breaks down to. Now, a guy who's got a crew, he's probably paying those guys like $200 to $250 a day. So just for easy math here, I'm going to use the $250 a day. And I just break everything down into how long do I think that will take to do? Okay, so this guy's got he's redoing this is one that just came up. He's redoing the insulation and the walls, and they tried to charge me like $4,000. I was like, what the hell, dude? All right, hang on. Let me like think through this with you. So you're going to send a bottom of the barrel guy because this guy needs no skills. So he's probably $200 a day, right? And it's going to take what? Like I could personally get that done in a day, but let's just give him, let's say it's going to take him 2 days. Okay. Excuse me, he had to do the floor insulation as well. So that's going to take another 2-3 days. Now I have 5 man days, $200. That's $1,000. If we were saying the 250 number, $1,250, the material is going to cost what? Same as. So let's say it's $1,000 for materials. So now I'm in like $2,000, $2,250. Where the hell's the $4,000 coming from? I'm like, am I missing something? Putting it back on me, but I know I'm not missing anything. They're trying to get a huge rip. Okay, so I just break things down like that. If it seems off to me, it's off, and I'm going to question it. going to question it right though. I'm not going to say, hey, screw you, man. I know you're trying to screw me over. I'm going to, show, not tell kind of thing. So yeah, I guess that's the best framework that I can tell you to look through there, Michael. Cody, can you score 1 to 10 how critical it is to manage your contractor's bid? What is the most important variable to consider in a flip? Most important variable to consider in a flip is how much equity did you have the day that you bought it. That is the single most important thing to do. If you get a deal on the front end that has equity, if you could turn around and sell the house for more the day you buy it, you win. 100% of the time, you frickin' win. Okay, I always tell the dump story, but dude, everything in my career, it was tough. And I got really good at managing contractors. I got really good at strategizing. I got really good at, to market, like how we were taking it to the market, and had to be perfect because otherwise I wouldn't make money. I'd do these huge renovations. I'd pop the top, tear off a roof and build a second story. Had to get really good at it, and it was still hard. And then I walked into this house. There was a human crap in the middle of the living room. Windows are boarded up. There was adult toys all over the place, mattresses, syringes. You get the picture. I got that house for $21,000, dude. And I did like $30,000 worth of work. The house appraised for $180,000 a couple months later. Right. Okay. How do you lose? You can mess up so much and still win when you start with a deal and you stay in the deal the whole time. So when I say stay in the deal, this is like one of the biggest things that you could possibly learn. Stay in the deal means that, like, as we talk about these things, here's what happens a lot of times is somebody buys right here, and they buy at where they think, oh, this is a great deal right here. And it would be if you kept pushing the house to more valuable, right? Going right means it's more valuable every day. And, okay, but what happens a lot of times is they're like, oh, shit. Oh, I'm not supposed to cuss on here, in case my kids ever see it. I don't know. But they, what they'll do is then they find out, oh, I got to gut it. Okay, so now they move it back to bombed out, and all of a sudden they're out of the money, right? The house isn't worth the $120,000 you paid for it anymore. You just made it worth $60,000. That's getting out of the money. So you buy in the money, and you're in the money the whole damn time. That's how you do it. Okay. Oh. 1 minute, guys. Can you score 1 to 10 how critical it is to manage your contractor's bid? I mean, yeah, you got to manage the bid. You only pay what they bid. It's that simple. If this is what you bid, this is the scope of work. When you do it, that's what I pay. Otherwise, we needed to have a conversation before. Going through the flipperism, what would the handyman budget on auto ads? Because I always forget stuff. At the end of the project, there is always stuff that comes up. Undoubtedly going to be stuff that comes up. Even me doing this for 17 years now, you always find something, and it, technically speaking, yeah, the contractor who messed it up should come back to do it. Good luck, so just, I'm adding a little bit of conservative, padding in everywhere I possibly can. So, $60K is not out of the money. I'm not sure I get that, but I do have a meeting that I have to go to. Dang it. I'm trying to do these every day, guys. So tune in on the next one. Have a good day. See you guys soon. Thank you.